Hello Donghua film lovers. Come back with me on the Donghua Storyline channel. Before that, I will remind you that this Donghua Storyline channel is a channel that discusses leaked stories from the latest Donghua films at this time. So if there is an inconsistency with the original story in the film which will air later, don't be sad, but it is possible that the story will be the same. Because what I quoted is directly from the Donghua novel. Let's support the Donghua Storyline channel by liking, comments and subscribing. Before we discuss the story, it would be better to keep your eyes away from cell phones or other devices, so that your eyes can always be healthy. Because this is just a fairy tale that I tell you. Let's imagine with Donghua Storyline. Bibidong laughed coldly, talking to herself. To be able to persist this long wasn't easy. Collapse. Become my spirit rings and spirit bones. It's your honor, your majesty. Do we launch another round of attacks? Ghost Douluo whispered. Bibidong waved her hand. No need. You five disperse. The later it is, the more alert we must be. I'm determined to have these two spirit rings. There can be no mistakes. Yes. The five titled douluo quietly separated from Bibidong, forming a semicircular encirclement of the two great spirit beasts. All they had to do was maintain control, and wait for the spirit beasts to die from the poison. With the current condition of the forest kings, even if they joined hands, it would be very difficult to attack any other titled douluo. At the same time, these five titled douluo also completely spread out their mental power, scattering their pressure around them, making any spirit beasts in the surroundings that might appear not dare approach. As long as they waited Bibidong to add a last attack to the dying spirit kings, this mission would be successfully completed. Even so much that Bibidong didn't need to attack. As long as the two great spirit beasts died from the poison, the result would be the same. Daming and Erming's eyes began to show despair. They knew they couldn't hold out. They wanted to rise up and kill one more enemy. But those spirit empire powers were each as slippery as ghosts. Just as they were about to attack, the enemy would immediately retreat, pulling open the distance and wait for them to retreat. When these enemies would again faintly maintain the encirclement, the two forest kings' speed could no longer compare to these titled douluo level powers. They could only helplessly feel their bodies weaken bit by bit. They now also understood the enemy's goal. These shameless humans would exhaust their life force until they attacked at the last moment. Bibidong looked like she was heedlessly following, but her mental power was always tightly watching the two great spirit beasts. If she wanted their spirit rings, then the last person to kill them had to be her. She had to guard against the two great divine beasts killing themselves or each other. Her spirit abilities were already prepared. She absolutely wouldn't give them the chance. Daming and Erming naturally also sensed Bibidong's frightful mental power. Erming gradually came to a halt, and placed Daming from his back on the ground. Then he sat down. They weren't prepared to keep moving. If they continued, they would only exhaust their vitality. By stopping, perhaps they could still hold back their fate. Erming's chest heaved violently. The poison had already entered his heart. If he didn't possess such a powerful body, his life would already be long gone. Daming and Erming looked at each other. Erming whispered, "Big bro, I'll cover you. Perhaps she can kill one of us, but the other will definitely have a chance for suicide." Daming saw the despair and helplessness in Erming's eyes. Suddenly, his eyes brightened a bit. "No, wait a bit longer. Perhaps we still have a chance not to die by their hands." Just at this moment, before Daming had finished speaking, suddenly, a gaudy golden light brightened in the Stardao Great Forest. Whether it was Bibidong or the other titled douluo, their eyes were all drawn to this suddenly appearing golden light. The golden light appeared behind the indeterminately drifting ghost douluo. This line of golden light appeared without warning, like a golden pillar of light that came out of nowhere, directly enveloping Ghost Douluo. Ghost Douluo screamed miserably, the black currents of energy surrounding him collapsing in an instant, exposing his true features. Violent pain made his whole body contort. 5 meters in front of him, a figure quietly appeared. A giant cloak hid this person's figure. Only in his right hand was a 4-meter black trident. That golden light shot from his forehead. Careful. The appearance of his person suddenly made Bibidong feel intense danger, and she hurriedly ordered, "Kill him." Bibidong herself didn't act blindly without thinking, because she had to target the two great divine beasts in order to kill them personally. Compared to Ghost Douluo's life, the two great divine beasts' value was way higher. As an agility attack type title douluo, Ghost Douluo's reaction should have been extremely fast. But at this moment, he basically couldn't produce any spirit ability. If that golden light had fallen on an ordinary person, they would only have felt comfortably warm. Or even more than comfortable. Even common illnesses would be cured. But, when it fell on Ghost Douluo, it was no less of a hell than magma. His whole body was as if it had been set aflame. The violent pain reaching into the depths of his soul. Ghost Douluo's spirit was extremely peculiar. He had once died in his childhood. But by chance, his soul was able to reattach to his body, thereby awakening his spirit, producing an extremely unusual spirit. That was Ghost. In some sense, his soul was his spirit, and he himself was a living dead. What Ghost Douluo feared the most was the kind of sacred light like the seraphim spirit released. That kind of light was the nemesis of his spirit, and the golden light he faced was even more terrifying than the sacred light of the seraphim he had once sensed. The divine power it contained precluded any chance of him breaking free. And he was even more unable to release any spirit ability. He did his utmost to urge his spirit power to endure, wanting to use title douluo level spirit power to break free. As long as he could break free, he would at most lose a few ranks of spirit power, but could stay alive. But, facing an immobile opponent, would the power in front of him releasing the golden light use only that golden radiance? This suddenly appearing person was naturally Tang San. Actually, he had already arrived as early as half a stick of incense ago. But, he at the same time also felt a mental strength not much weaker than his own. Therefore, he didn't dare directly hide, and rather hid with the power of the vast sea cosmic shroud, thoroughly camouflaging his aura and accumulating his mental strength inside, thereby avoiding discovery. When Tang San saw bibidong, he was also quite shocked. But he calmed down very quickly, analyzing the current situation, as he saw bibidong and her subordinate title douluo always keep a certain distance from the two great divine beasts, as well as the two great divine beasts' weakening vitality. Tang San understood bibidong's way of thinking. And just at this moment, bibidong's subordinates spread out to keep the two great beasts from escaping, then giving Tang San his present chance. Tang San clearly discovered that bibidong's mental strength was completely focused on Daming and Erming, and could give them a mental attack at any time, and then launch a destructive attack. Thus, as long as he was a bit careful with his mental power, it was impossible for bibidong to discover it. When picking the target to attack, Tang San considered all his abilities, and ultimately chose Ghost Douluo. Tang San of course had his reasons for attacking Ghost Douluo. Among the 5 title douluo bibidong brought, Tang San was only familiar with Ghost Douluo and Chrysanthemum Douluo, and had also seen a portion of their abilities. Taken alone, these 2 title douluo weren't very strong. Neither was a title douluo with peak level spirits. But their position in Spirit Hall was extremely high, and for a very simple reason. Because these 2 title douluo possessed a formidable spirit fusion ability. If it launched, even ranked 95 or 96 title douluo would find it very difficult to block. Last time it was because they trapped Daming and Erming that led to Xiao Wu finally having no choice but to sacrifice herself for Tang San. If he could kill one of these 2 first, then it would undoubtedly make these Spirit Hall powers lose an extremely powerful restraint ability. Even so much that it might be the strongest restraint ability they had. Next, after many times use, especially after the battle against the Slaughter King, Tang San's understanding of the Sigurd's light had deepened a lot. This seemingly gentle light had a formidable evil vanquishing power. Even when it wasn't used with the Sigurd trident, it still had an extremely powerful effect on evil. Giving it the Sigurd's name wasn't just a name. Ghost Douluo's body was covered by a ghost dance, making it impossible to see his true features. Dark and cold, clearly not a just way. The Sigurd's light would extremely possibly have a certain restraining effect on him. In an ambush, it would very possible create an opportunity for Tang San to instantly kill him. Even if he couldn't kill him, with the help of the Sigurd's light, Tang San still had a chance to seriously injure him. Of course, there was another reason Tang San chose Ghost Douluo rather than Chrysanthemum Douluo. Chrysanthemum Douluo possessed the odd velvet sky chrysanthemum spirit, and had once tried to accept Dai Mu as disciple. Even though Tang San didn't have any good opinion of him, he loathed him far less than Ghost Douluo. With so many considerations, Ghost Douluo became Tang San's first target of attack, relying on the vast sea barrier to quietly hide behind Ghost Douluo. The Sigurd's light exploded in an instant, with even better results than Tang San had anticipated. The other 4 title douluo all around instantly used their mental power to target him, and swiftly threw themselves in this direction, intensely pressuring Tang San, wanting to rely on their formidable auras to pressure Tang San into being unable to attack, and even quickly kill him while he was awed. Unfortunately, even though 4 title douluo added together could bring Tang San a lot of pressure, compared to the Sigurd's first trial, this bit of pressure was far from enough to hinder Tang San. Relying on his boundless level mental strength, Tang San straight up ignored them. The title douluo closest to Ghost Douluo's position was 300 meters away. 300 meters, to a title douluo, was of course close to nothing. It could be covered in practically just a couple of breaths. But to Tang San, this couple of breaths was already enough to finish a lot of things. Seeing Ghost Douluo struggle in pain under the Sigurd's light, Tang San inwardly exulted. He knew that he'd unexpectedly found Ghost Douluo's fatal weakness. Without any hesitation, the Sigurd's light instantly changed direction, and the black trident stabbed out. Ghost Douluo just felt his whole body relax, and that golden light that left him in so much pain turned away from him. But, before he could gather his strength to dodge, golden light flashed in front of him again, and light 10 times more intense than before covered his body in an instant. The giant trident had already reached his chest. Right now, all he could do was raise his hands and condense all his spirit power to try and block this attack. He understood that as long as he could escape this time, then his comrades would rush over and tear this ambush's corpse into 10,000 pieces. But this time he couldn't block. On the 3 great prongs of the Sigurd trident, the golden light moved just like waves. How was this true divine weapon something Ghost Douluo could block after just having been seriously injured by the Sigurd's light? The sharp blade blossomed with devil-breaking power. Ghost Douluo only felt the spirit power he had condensed between his palms fly off, unexpectedly slipping past either side of the Sigurd trident. No. Chrysanthemum Douluo watched the white golden light pollen thrust out from Ghost Douluo's back. Intense golden light instantly spreading to each part of Ghost Douluo's body. And he couldn't help roaring furiously. His speed reached the limit, and from his hand his odd velvet sky chrysanthemum flew out, straight towards Tang San. But he understood that, at this moment, everything was already too late. Title Douluo Gui Mei no longer had any chance to return alive. The death energy his body radiated had instantly been evaporated by the giant pollen. Ghost Douluo's body was already completely frozen. Unable to move a step, the Sigurd trident, 108,000 jin heavy, let alone when Ghost Douluo was already corroded by the Sigurd's light. All his death energy substantially rooted. Even if his body still maintained ideal condition, how would it be possible to blood the Sigurd trident with a physical palm? Tang San's spirit power wasn't much lower than his, and his strength was even above his. Plus the Sigurd trident's complete power unleashed. Even the continent's once #1 power Tang Chen needed to use a divine tool of similar quality to block. Ghost Douluo's body was madly purified by the Sigurd's light, turning into a wisp of black smoke rising into the air. A black spirit bone falling from his body, pulling back the Sigurd trident. The left prong just pulled on that spirit bone, and at the same time, teleportation launched. The next moment, Tang San was already 100 meters away. He didn't approach the 2 forest kings, but rather quickly retreated, because, if he charged forward, his purpose would be revealed, and would moreover expose himself to the attacks of 5 title douluo including bibidong. But by withdrawing, not only could he pull open the distance by a step, he could simultaneously make the opponents hesitant. From the fact that bibidong still hadn't acted, one could see that she was afraid something would happen on Da Ming and Ming's side. Several loud sounds erupted from Tang San's previous location. Especially that full force odd velvet sky chrysanthemum created a 100-meter diameter hole in the surroundings. "Old ghost!" Chrysanthemum Douluo cried out, throwing himself to where Ghost Douluo just died. Shuddering with tears falling from his eyes, he and Ghost Douluo had been together for more than 60 years. A lifetime. Their feelings were quite deep, even surpassing blood-related brothers. Now seeing Ghost Douluo suddenly die in front of him, not even leaving a corpse behind, Chrysanthemum Douluo was in pain worse than death. Whether to Chrysanthemum Douluo or to the others. All this happened too fast. Almost so they now still hadn't reacted. From the appearance of that cloaked figure to the death of Ghost Douluo. It had all passed in a flash. Instantly killing a title Douluo was inconceivable. Even if it was a sneak attack, it was still unheard of. Even though bibidong was confident that her strength was unreasonable, she would still need to use her strongest spirit abilities to have a chance of instantly killing a power on the title Douluo level. That Tang San could do it naturally wasn't because his strength surpassed bibidong's, but to a very great degree due to luck, and the Sigurd Trident's restraint to Ghost Douluo being too severe, plus attacking from ambush, had all established this move. Of course, that Ghost Douluo knew nothing of the Sigurd Trident also became an important factor. The moment after teleporting, Tang San again vanished in the forest. The blue-silver domain spread out, easily hiding his aura, and at the same time restarting the vast sea barrier let him hide once again. Without looking at the spirit bone Ghost Douluo dropped, he just quickly stuffed it into his 100 treasure purse. Grabbing the Sigurd Trident, Tang San quietly circled around to another direction. In order not to be discovered by bibidong, he completely stored his own mental power within the vast sea barrier's protection. Like this, even if Sigurd Douluo Bosaishi was here, it would be very difficult for her to discover him as long as he didn't attack. Ghost Douluo's sudden death equally shocked bibidong. She had just thought it was impossible for someone to stop her from taking those two forest kings. But the instant death of an elder, and the Ghost Douluo with the spirit fusion ability at that, immediately made her furious heart alert. The mental strength frozen on the two forest kings immediately spread out, searching vigilantly, and at the same time she ordered the 4 title Douluo to stay close to her. They had already lost 2 title Douluo in this operation. And even though bibidong didn't care about their lives, they were the core strength of the Spirit Empire. Of course she would feel her heart ache. Your Majesty, old ghost, you must avenge him. Chrysanthemum Douluo, who had always treated bibidong's orders as his life, was now almost unable to contain himself. The other 3 title Douluo also silently watched bibidong, inwardly feeling a bit like sympathetic. Elder Yue Gang, calm down. Ghost Douluo's death grieves me. But this person is very strong. It's possible they aren't weaker than me. Stay within 10 meters from me. And be careful, we'll kill the 2 forest kings first. To avert more accidents. Bibidong's voice contained her mental strength. And with the sound wave strike, the 4 Spirit Empire elders' minds shook. Chrysanthemum Douluo's expression calmed a bit, but rancor in his eyes grew even deeper. Sharply watching all around, wishing he could tear Ghost Douluo's killer into 10,000 pieces. After Tang San retreated a distance, he didn't have any contact with Daming and Erming, and also didn't try launching any more attacks. The 4 title Douluo bibidong Bruff were cautiously observing the 2 great divine spirit beasts. And he stayed motionless, quietly watching. Daming and Erming personally saw Ghost Douluo being killed. They were spirit beasts, especially sensitive to scent, and even though Tang San held the Sigurd Trident, wrapping himself up in the cloak, they still immediately identified Tang San's smell. The 2 great divine beasts' eyes instantly brightened. As they say, adding flowers to brocade is easy. Sending charcoal in a snowstorm is difficult. When besieged by this many spirit hall experts, that Tang San could come in time, warmed the hearts of the close to despair 2 great divine beasts. They felt even more that Xiao Wu didn't pick the wrong person. And the strength Tang San showed shocked them. Even they couldn't help shivering from the Sigurd Trident's light. Hope reignited. Daming and Erming looked at each other, then turned from sitting to crawling. Faint energy fluctuations began to condense around them. They say a centipede dies but never falls. Even more so for formidable 100,000-year spirit beasts. Even though they were deeply wounded, their potential overdrawn, their auras again went from chaotic to serious. Tang San's appearance, besides giving them hope, also gave confidence. Not confidence of surviving, but confidence of not becoming bibidong's spirit rings. Bibidong's expression hidden under the purple carapace was a bit ugly. The originally perfect plan was wrecked by the sudden enemy appearance. Now waiting until the two great divine beasts died on their own from the poison wasn't realistic. Since that hidden enemy could escape her mental detection, his strength was obvious, just in case he finally attacked and killed the two spirit beasts. Even if it was just one, it would still be an enormous loss to her. That person was very fast, and could hide as well. His attack strength was also so powerful. It was very possibly an agility attack title douluo. But, in bibidong's impression, agility attack types weren't that powerful. The Sigurd Trident also equally shocked her. She was someone who approached that boundary, and equally fully rejected that sacred aura. That trident was a divine instrument. There was no doubt about it. While moving forward, bibidong's mental power simultaneously reached the ears of the four title douluo around her. I will soon attack the two forest kings. You four guard in all directions. Now matter in which direction that person appears. You must block him, until I've killed them both. Understood. Ghost Douluo's death was because of the sneak attack and attribute restraint. You don't have to fear. When you're prepared, it won't be so easy for that person to kill you. Don't dishonor your status as title douluo. The stronger they were, the more accurate their judgment of the opponent. Bibidong saw very accurately. Even though Tang San was strong, it wasn't really possible for him to ambush four ready title douluo. Instantly killing title douluo wasn't something that could be done just any time. Daming and Erming fixedly watched the approaching Spirit Empire people, constantly giving low roars. Erming was surrounded by a rising yellow light, cyan light flickering around Daming. Especially the horns on the bull head even more caused angry ripples. Bibidong's eyes were completely serious. Facing 200,000-year spirit beasts counterattack at death's door, even she wasn't fully confident. Even more so when there was a hidden enemy nearby. In a flash, Bibidong leaned forward close to the ground, her purple carapace instantly spreading, her whole body becoming an enormous spider. The green hairs on her 8 spider legs simultaneously turning purple. She emanated a faint purple light, and where it passed, everything withered. The other 4 title douluo simultaneously moved a couple steps sideways, getting away from her purple light. This was Bibidong's spirit avatar, Death Spider Emperor. The purple light instantly grew more intense, and the 8th black spirit ring around Bibidong suddenly flashed. Dazzling purple light congealed on the left side of her body, light and shadow playing. Suddenly another identical Death Spider Emperor. This was the 8th spirit ability of Bibidong's first spirit, Spider Emperor Clone. Effect: the spirit ability creates a clone with 100% of the main body's strength. Without intelligence. Must be controlled. This 100% strength wasn't just the physical body, but also included spirit abilities. Of course, only the previous 7 spirit abilities, not the 8th and 9th. The Spider Emperor clone leapt under Bibidong's control, stepping in front of her, and accelerating forward along with the main body, charging towards Daming and Erming like 2 purple phantoms. The 3rd spirit ability flashed, and 2 purple spider webs shot out simultaneously, shrouding Daming and Erming in a dense purple energy. Those spider webs quickly expanded in midair, and even though Daming and Erming were enormous, when the spider webs reached them they were already large enough to wrap around. At the same moment, Bibidong's main body and the Spider Emperor clone's 4th spirit ring brightened, and one more than 1 meter long dark purple spike after another covered every piece of the 2 bodies. The purple carapace also becoming especially thick. This was her 4th spirit ability, Thistle Spider Armor. This was a purely defensive ability, but at the same time the purple spikes were poisonous.